These days, I barely recognize Soni. Back in the village, she was the girl who'd run barefoot through the fields with me, laugh at my worst jokes, and share the last piece of mango even when she wanted it herself. We promised we'd always have each other's back. But ever since we've moved to Delhi for college, something's changed. She has started hanging out with the rich brats, the ones who wear sunglasses indoors and laugh at people's accent. And worse, she's picked up their habits, the teasing, the mocking, the cruel kind of fun. Today I'm more than just uncomfortable. I'm angry. We were in the canteen halfway through the lunch when I saw Soham walking towards our table with his tray. He's a quiet guy, the kind who keeps his head down and focuses on his books. People call him boring, but I've always thought he just likes his own company. Just as he was about to sit, Sony suddenly grabbed his chair and yanked it away. It happened in a blur. Soham falling flat on the back, the thud echoing, juice spilling all over his shirt. The whole canteen burst into laughter. Sony and a new gang laughed the loudest. I froze for a moment, my stomach twisting. This wasn't some harmless joke. Soham lay there looking stunned, his glasses sliding down his nose. Before I knew it, I was on my feet. Sony, what's wrong with you? I shouted, loud enough for heads to turn. This isn't funny. Her smile faded for a second, but then she rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, Riya. It's just a joke. I ignored her and bent down to help Soham up. He didn't look at me, just adjusted his glasses and brushed his shirt with trembling hands. Come, I said softly, taking his tray from the floor. I led him out to open courtyard. There was a tap nearby, so I turned it on and started rinsing the orange stains from his shirt. Uh, I'm sorry, I said, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. She shouldn't have done that. I don't know what's gotten into her lately. Soham stayed quiet, staring at the water dripping onto the tiles. Not a single word. Somehow his silence made me feel even worse. The change in Sony wasn't just in her words anymore. It was in her schedule too. Most nights, she came back late, smelling of perfume and cigarette smoke. Her laugh had changed, louder, sharper, the kind that carried across the corridor. One afternoon in class, I sat by the window while Sony's gang chatted behind me. Diana, one of her new best friends, leaned in and said, Sony, you should throw a party too. Everyone will come. I turned my head just in time to see Sony freeze. Her face went red, and she fiddled with her pain for a second. Then, as if she'd put a mask, she smiled. Sure, soon. I'll let you know. I didn't say anything, but something about that hesitation stayed with me. A week later, our marketing professor announced teams for project. Riya, Soni, Ravi, Soham, he said. We had to work together, so we went to Soham's apartment for the first meeting. Soni's eyes lit up as soon as we went there, and I could understand why. The building had a huge lobby that looked like a hotel, and outside, a sparkling blue swimming pool. His apartment itself was spotless, wide windows, two big bedrooms, and furniture that looked straight out of a catalog. While we set up our laptops, Sony casually asked, You live alone? Soham nodded. Yeah. Something changed in her eyes at that moment, a quick flash, like she had just had an idea, but she said nothing. After that, I started noticing small things. Sony trying to talk to Soham more often, lingering by his desk, smiling for no reason. But Soham, he wasn't interested. If anything, he seemed more comfortable with me. We started sitting together in class, eating lunch in the canteen. I learned he was an aspiring writer, with several suspense novels already written. Why not publish them? I asked once. He'd smiled faintly. Not yet. Right time matters. I found that fascinating. Someone so quiet holding so many stories inside him. One evening, I was lying on my bed scrolling through my phone when Sony suddenly sat up like she had remembered something important. Her eyes were brighter than usual. She grabbed her phone and called her parents. Dad, I'll need 20,000 rupees every month from now until college is over, she said, just like that. I could hear the muffled disagreement from where I lay, but somehow within minutes she convinced them. I watched her face shift between irritation and fake sweetness until she finally smiled. Thanks, Papa. Love you. A notification pinged on her phone. 20,000 credited. I sat up. What's going on? She grinned. I'm leaving this dingy, stinky room and moving in with Soham. What? The word skipped me before I could stop it. I didn't know what shocked me more, her asking that much money from her parents or her decision to move in with Soham. Hey, why waste their money like that? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Your parents are stingy, not mine. Then she leaned closer, her voice turning colder. Oh, and just so you know, Soham and I are dating now. So stay away from my boyfriend, alright? I stared at her, speechless. She picked up her bag and walked out of the room, leaving me sitting there with a heaviness I couldn't name. After that night, something shifted in me. I didn't want to admit it, but I started avoiding Soham. The next time he waved at me from across the corridor, I pretended to be busy in my bag. Once he walked up and said, Hey, want to grab an ice cream after class? I forced a polite smile. I have work. Maybe he noticed the wall I was building, because after that, he stopped trying. I told myself it was better this way, less awkward for everyone. Meanwhile, Soni's life seemed better than ever. I heard she had thrown an amazing party at Soham's place. Music, lights, people laughing till late. I didn't go, of course. I stayed in my quiet little room, making notes for my assignments. Months passed, 7 to be exact, since she had moved out. Then one afternoon, the ultimate drama began. I was in the canteen when I overheard her gang talking. Apparently, they had been planning an international trip. Soni was on the list too. But Soni shook her head. I can't go. Diana's smile vanished. Why not? We have planned everything. Don't spoil it now. I just can't. Soni repeated, her voice tight. Diana's eye narrowed. You know what? Sometimes I feel like you're just a cheap crap who tries too hard to look rich. Are you even rich, Sony? I just want to know. For a second, I froze. Part of me thought, hoped, she would stand up for herself, call them out for the way they treated her. But I was wrong. She smiled sweetly instead. Stop the nonsense. All right, I'll go. My breath caught. How on earth was she going to manage that? Meanwhile, my life was going good, really good. My teachers were happy with my performance. I'd started working part time at a coaching center nearby, tutoring school kids. The pay wasn't huge, but it was enough to buy what I wanted and hang out with my friends without asking my parents for money. We even started traveling, short weekend trips to the hills, planning a big trip to Ladakh next. Everyone was working hard for it. My life felt simple, real, and drama free. I had good friends. I was growing. And that was enough for me. One evening, we were coming out of movie when my eyes caught something that made me stop mid-step. Sony. She was walking out of another screen, holding hands with a man I had never seen before. He looked older, dressed sharp, and when they reached the parking lot, he unlocked a gleaming black bike. Sony climbed onto the back seat, wrapped her arms around his waist, and off they went. My jaw dropped. The next day at college, I kept stealing glances at Sohan. Was he upset? Was he heartbroken? But to my surprise, he seemed fine, almost cheerful. Maybe Sony was cheating on him and he didn't know. That thought made me uneasy. Before I could overthink, my feet was already taking me towards him. He looked up, eyebrows lifting. Hey, he greeted. I smiled nervously. "Uh, Hi, how have you been? Same old, nothing new, he said. You? I'm good. It felt weird talking to him after almost a year. Then, almost like before, he asked, Want to grab ice cream after college? I hesitated. Uh, maybe. He tilted his head. Maybe? Okay, I said quickly. He smiled, and that was that. We ended up at our old favorite ice cream place. Sitting there felt strangely familiar and warm, like nothing had changed, except everything had. I wasn't planning to ask about Sony, but the question slipped out before I could stop it. How's it going with Sony? I asked, and immediately regretted it. He shrugged casually. Oh, she shifted with her boyfriend. I almost choked on my ice cream. What? You know? He looked confused at my reaction. Yes. You're okay with that? It didn't hurt you? Why would it hurt me? Because you were in a relationship, I said carefully. Now it was his turn to nearly choke. What? Who told you that? We were never in a relationship. In fact, I never liked her. If you hadn't asked me to let her move in, I would never have agreed. What? When did I ever ask you for that? You don't remember? You messaged me. Here. He pulled out his phone and showed me the text. I stared at it, my heart sinking. I never sent this. And that's when it hit me. Sony had taken my phone, messaged him herself, and later blocked him so no message could be exchanged. She had managed to keep us apart all this time. Soham and I just sat there, looking at each other like fools. How stupid are we? He said, laughing. I shook my head in disbelief. Sorry you got exploited in the name of friendship. He grinned. Not at all. She was paying me every month. Paying you? Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm renting that place, but it's actually my dad's. He told me I could live there till college ended, so I stay there for free. I told Sony we'd split the rent and she agreed. She gave me 20,000 every month for rent and food, so win-win for me. I couldn't help laughing. Wow, he smiled, then added, except for the part where you stopped talking to me. Oh, yes, that was a loss. It was just another afternoon in class when Diana suddenly stood up on her desk, her voice sharp enough to slice through the chatter. We've got a scammer among us, she declared. Someone who thinks she can use boys for money. The room fell quiet. A few people giggled nervously, others just stared. Guess who the greatest human being here is? Diana continued, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Then she pointed straight at Sony. I saw Sony freeze in the corner, her face turning pale. Whispers rippled through the class. Ross, I knew it. She's so fake. Diana wasn't done. She thought she could use boys and get away with it. First Soham, now my cousin Priyam. Thanks to God, I was beside my brother when I saw him transferring 50,000 to this shameful woman. If I hadn't stopped him, he would have been just another naive scapegoat. Gasps filled the room. Sony kept her eyes on the floor. And then Soham spoke. Calm, clear, but loud enough for everyone to hear. Don't drag me into this, he said. There has never been any use and throw between me and Sony. She was my tenant. She paid for rent and food. That's it. And as for your brother, they are in a relationship. That's between them. He's an adult. He can deal with it himself. Who are you to interfere? Diana's jaw tightened, but Soham kept going. Maybe the real problem is you. You wanted status in your friendships, and Sony felt pressured to keep up, even if it meant doing things that were hard for her. Maybe you should think about your part in this before you shame someone in public. The, the class went silent. Sony suddenly stood, her chair scraping loudly, and ran out of the room. I didn't think twice. I followed her. Later that evening, back in our old shared space, Sony was curled up on her bed crying. I'm sorry, she whispered when she saw me. I was just asking Priya to lend me the money for a while. I was going to return it once I got my salary. I've started working now, but I messed everything up. I let you down. I troubled my parents. I chased this stupid idea of friendship, and I lost myself. Her words cracked in the middle, and my chest ached hearing that. I sat beside her and pulled her into a hug. It's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You were distracted, Sony. You lost your way home. But now you're back, and that's what matters. She clung to me, sobbing harder. And for the first time in a long while, it felt like I had my best friend back.